Hello, and welcome to your video lecture on ethics. Today we're going to talk about all types of ethical considerations, but we're really going to concentrate today on ethical decision making, pre-conventional, post-conventional, and conventional morality. You know, I say this in my lecture, but everybody knows right from wrong. How we act on right from wrong is what's key, especially for us managers. So, when we're done with ethics, we're also going to talk about corporate social responsibilities and the global compact towards social responsibility and some green marketing tactics. And then we're going to talk about the global watchdog. Who is the global watchdog for ethical considerations across the world? I hope you enjoy the lecture. And with that being said, let's get started with ethics. So as I said in the introduction, today's lecture is all about ethics and social responsibility. So why do we act ethically? Why do we do the right thing? Therein lies the question. Why do we, and I'm not talking about in your personal life. What I'm talking about is in business. Why do you do the right thing? Well, the reason that we do the right thing is because there's social controls out there. It's not anarchy, although, boy, with this pandemic, who knows? But anyways, it's not anarchy. There is social control. And those social controls, any means used to maintain behavioral norms. And behavioral norms are what we would call standards of proper behavior. You can't go out and you can't do things that are illegal. You can't go out and you can't do things that are immoral and those types of things. And that's social control. And in a couple of slides, I'm going to get back to that social control thing because I think that's very important. But truly, as a society, we're governed by social control. As business people, we're also governed by social control. Even if something is not illegal, if it's looked on unfavorably, it could damage your business. It could damage your business in the fact that you lose customers or suppliers don't want to do business with you, so you lose suppliers. All of those is part of social control. And we're going to talk about that in just a minute. So a lot of people say, well, what's the difference between morals and ethics? And usually I start this lecture with having everybody write down at their desk, what is a moral and what is ethics? Because we're doing this asynchronously, I can't do that. But truly, morals are rules that people develop as a result of culture and as a result of society. They're considered foundation for ethics. Now, morals include laws. Morals include what's right and wrong. Morals include what's socially acceptable and what's not socially acceptable. And morals really will vary from culture to culture to culture. For instance, here in the United States, it is socially unacceptable and actually against the law to marry multiple people. But in other cultures, that is socially acceptable. We find it, generally speaking, socially unacceptable to have relationships with multiple people, whereas in other cultures, that is socially acceptable. So morals are both based on cultural norms, behavioral norms, as well as laws that we have written down for protection of people. Ethics are how people act on those morals. And therein lies the rub. And I always say that therein lies the rub. Because there are things that you can do in business that are not illegal, but they're not ethically right. They're not ethically sound. And even though in the short term it might not affect you, it will in the long term. For instance, if you're in somebody's office and it's a closed bid system, and that somebody let's say it's a prospective client, and that person has to leave for some reason. It's been called out of his office, and you see your competitor's bid right there. It is unethical because it's a closed bid for you to look at the competitor's bid. Yet, most of us will. That is not illegal, but it's unethical. And if you were found doing that, the punishment would be that person would probably not do business with you. So it could cost your company some, a job or some money. That's what we talk about when we get into this gray area between morals, ethics, and laws. Just because it's not illegal doesn't mean it's right. So that goes back to that social control. Ethics are moral principles or values that people act upon. Laws are punishable. So if you break the law, you will be punished. Either you will be fined, you will be reprimanded, you will be thrown in jail. Different societies have different laws and different ethical rules. Laws are created by governments. Laws are created by different types of legal systems, either common or civil, and we're going to get into you're going to get into that in international business. So I'm not going to get into it right now. And then you also have really social control is your formal and informal groups. Oftentimes, you will act morally and ethically because you want to fit in with your informal group. Also, oftentimes you act morally and ethically because you want to fit in with your formal group. You don't want to be fired. Even though it's not illegal, it could be a situation where you get fired from your formal group or your organization. So those are modes of social control. So ethics are viewed as standards by which behavior is conducted. And that is both cultural, it's personal, it's societal, it's all those types of things. It's also government, because there's laws based on ethical conduct and the way ethics can be handled. For instance, extortion and usury and all those types of things are not only unethical, where you would extort money from somebody or you would blackmail them, etc. Not only is it unethical, it's also illegal. And then also ethics is just not only the written laws and the written rules, but it's also unwritten rules that we have developed as a society that we say that's right and that's wrong. Lying and things like that. You tell a lie, oftentimes it's not punishable by law. However, it is unethical. So ethical development levels, and this right here to me sums up ethical behavior. I've said this multiple times. Everybody knows right from wrong. You know right from wrong by about the time you're 12. You know right from wrong. You've been taught right from wrong. You've observed society. You've observed your culture. You've observed. By the time you're about 12 or 13, you know what's right and what's wrong. The way people act. Now, therein lies the rub. That's what we call ethical decision making or ethical management. Now, there's 3 different ways and 3 different ethical decision making levels. One's pre-conventional, one's conventional, and one's post-conventional. Pre-conventional morality says that you are going to act ethically. You are going to make ethical decisions based on solely punishment. Generally speaking, children are governed by pre-conventional morality. Children are governed by that because they act ethically, they act what's right and what's wrong because they're afraid of punishment. That's pre-conventional morality. We've all been there. We've all been children. We've all respected our parents, etc., and we're afraid of punishment. Conventional morality says that you're going to act ethically because you're afraid of what somebody will think of you, their opinion of you. Generally speaking, people move from pre-conventional morality to conventional morality, where you guys are right now, your Z's and your young millennials. Conventional morality, much of the time, guides your decision making. You want to act ethically because you're afraid of what your peer group might think of you. what your girlfriend or boyfriend might think of you, or what your parents or your mom or your aunt or your uncle or your professor might think of you. So you're acting morally, and you're making good moral judgment and good moral decisions based on what people will think of you. You want to be thought highly of, and so you're acting accordingly. Then finally, post-conventional morality represents the fact that you're acting and you're making moral decisions, and you're making good ethical decisions based on the fact that it's the right thing to do. What I'd like to see where you guys go from is, right now you're in conventional morality. Most people your age and in your position within life are there. I'd like to see you move from conventional morality to post-conventional morality very, very quickly, because therein lies the rub. When managers act because of post-conventional morality, they're acting because it's the right thing to do. And that's what we want to get, that's where we want to get managers to go, is at the post-conventional morality. So let me give you an example. Let's say you're at Wegmans and you push your shopping cart in, and you get all your stuff out of the shopping cart, and you buy everything, but on the bottom of your shopping cart is a 12-pack of Pepsi or Coke. You get out to your car, you unload your groceries, and you look down and you say, well, I didn't pay for that Coke. I didn't pay for that Pepsi. Pre-conventional morality would mean that you would look around and you would be afraid that someone would arrest you for stealing. So you would run back in and you would pay for the Pepsi. Conventional morality would say, boy, I hope no one saw me do that. If someone saw me do that, they would think I'm trying to steal. I really didn't want to steal. I just forgot about it. So you would run back in and you would pay for that Pepsi. Post-conventional morality says, you know what, even though Danny Wegman is going to have way more money than I ever am, it's just not the right thing to do. I didn't pay for that Pepsi, so it doesn't belong to me. And so you go back in there and you pay for the Pepsi. So ethical decision making is all about pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional morality. It's the extent to which you deal with problems ethically. Hopefully, when you're making your ethical decisions, you are making them based on post-conventional morality. Not what someone thinks of you, not whether you're going to be punished, but because you're afraid of a harmful outcome from society and it's just the right thing to do. And you think, you know what, if I do the right things will come to me. So ethical decision making is really potential magnitude, probability of harmful outcomes, the number of people affected, and those types of things. So the best companies out there have a code of ethics. It's a guidelines to help marketing managers and other managers and other employees make the right decisions. The key thing about a code of ethics is upper management have to walk the walk and talk the talk. They've got to make sure that not only are they putting out a code of ethics, but they're acting towards that code of ethics. And it's controlling their behavior as well as the behavior of the organization. Let me tell you something. Many companies is, when in Rome, do as the Romans. So if I see my managers acting unethically, then I will also. If you have a code of ethics and managers abide by that code of ethics, and they enforce that code of ethics, it will avoid confusion in decision making, and it will make decision making easier because it's the right thing to do. And most managers make that code of ethics based on post-conventional morality. Now, with that being said, you do need to understand that when you're doing business in foreign countries, and obviously you've had this during your international business class, but we do have the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which says that even though in another country, if it's okay to bribe somebody or okay to act corruptly, you can get extradited and brought back into the United States and be punishable by law there. So it's a real problem for a lot of companies because in some countries, bribery is a form of doing business. It is a way of doing business. But if we do that, you are under the jurisdiction of the United States, and we do have the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. All right, I'll be back in just a minute with part 2, and we're going to talk about social responsibility. So now let's get into corporate social responsibility. Obviously, the definition is truly business's concern for society's welfare. Corporate social responsibility, there's a lot of debate out there whether people think that corporations have a responsibility to do what's right, or do corporations only have to follow laws? In other words, if there's no law against it, why would a corporation have to do it? Also, you got to think about, a lot of people had debate is to say, does the corporations only answer their stockholders, or do they have to answer to society? I think a lot of us would say that they have to answer to both. We have to be profitable as a corporation, as well as make sure that we've got society and societal concerns as part of what we're trying to do. So the pyramid of corporate social responsibility talks about everything from economic, legal, ethical, philanthropic, and societal. For instance, I ask this question in class a lot, and we debate it, especially amongst you seniors out there. We debate, does a corporation have a responsibility to the society in which they serve? And a lot of people say yes. A lot of people say no. The first responsibility is to the stockholders. Should a corporation be philanthropic? Should a corporation give back? And many people would say no. I'm a pure capitalist, and corporations, any money a corporation should make should go to the stockholders. And others would say no, we need to be philanthropic and also help society. That way it takes pressure off the government from doing it. However you think is certainly up to you, but it's all about that pyramid of corporate social responsibility. So now you have sustainability. So corporate responsibility and sustainability goes hand in hand. Sustainability is the idea that socially responsible companies will not only adhere to current sustainable laws, but also outperform it. And that environmentally sustainable companies will not only look at threats to the environment, but threats to the human race, such as labor and indentured labor and those types of things. And social sustainability also means not only processes for which you are working, but processes for which you hold your suppliers and your customers. So supply chain sustainability really is a 4-portion or a 4-part pyramid. You've got environment, human rights, labor, and corruption. And there's the Global Compact of Sustainability, which launched in 2000, has over 8,000 participants. Most of your Fortune 1000 are in the supply chain sustainability. And there's 10 universally accepted principles. And basically, it's a group of companies that got together that said, we are going to go beyond what the government requires of us. What we're going to do is we are going to set up a global compact of sustainability. So those laws, or those 10 principles, start with human. And the principles said that first of all was labor, and that labor has a right to organize, or organized labor. The other one is with child labor and indentured labor and slave labor. The other one is human rights. People should be conscientious of human rights, and they should take human rights into consideration. The other one would be environment. Obviously we know the environment, and then corruption. So those are the 10 universally accepted principles of the Global Compact. The other thing that's important right now is green marketing, which is not just social responsibility, but really taking care of the environment and understanding about the different things about the environment and the way that firms look at the environment for green marketing. So here's some leaders in social responsibility: Patagonia, Tom Shoes. You could go online and see everybody's social responsibility and ethical framework that they have put online. There's a lot of good being done out there, and there's a lot of bad being done out there. One of the key things that people need to understand is there is no global watchdog. There, the WTO, the World Trade Organization, there's no global watchdog out there. There's no global police force that says you need to be sustainable or you need not to use slave labor or child labor or something like that. The social and the global watchdog out there is customers. And it's you. If you don't feel like a company is being socially responsible, and that includes labor, that includes a lot of things, don't buy from them. If you start hitting their wallet, then they'll start being more socially responsible. They'll go out of business. And that's one of the key things that we need to understand when we're talking about ethics and social responsibility. You as a consumer are the global watchdog. So then the final concept I want to talk about is cause-related marketing. And that is when a nonprofit and a profit get together. And they have like Buckets for the Cure, which was Kentucky Fried Chicken, and the NFL and the breast cancer awareness and the different cause-related marketing. Cause-related marketing sometimes can be controversial in the fact that some people say that the company is just doing that to benefit themselves, but is really, truly, if there's done right, and it is a cooperative marketing effort and a cooperative fundraising effort between a profit and nonprofit, it can really be a benefit to society. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will hopefully see you again sometime soon.